I went to school in Marist. I don't know if people are familiar with Dakar and the school system. So I went to a private school in Dakar. And when I graduated from school, I decided that I wanted to go to the US to pursue my education. So I'm the second of 4 children. I have an older brother and a younger brother and a younger sister. She's like super young compared to the rest of us. So she patiently listened to me. She was very kind. And at the end of the phone call, she was like, oh, just give me your last name, and I'm going to go in the database to find your resume. So I saw it as an opportunity to kind of demonstrate my initiative. And instead of like just giving her my last name, I was like, how about you give me your email address so I can send you my CV or resume so that you don't have to look for it. She was like, fine, okay. So I sent her my resume. 30 minutes later, I was called for a 5-round interview. And that's how I landed my job at Lehman Brothers. So Lehman Brothers, back in the days, was the 4th largest investment bank in the world. And I remember showing up for the interview, and I felt so awkward. I attended a small city university college, and I was competing with folks from Harvard, Stanford, Princeton, and I was here, this little young Senegalese woman with a very strong accent, and I felt like I was out of place. I'm like, I'm never gonna get this job because I can't compete with these people. They are top-notch, they went to the best schools, they speak proper English with no accent, and it was a very scary moment for me. But the reason why I got the job and why they did not get the job is because I was able to demonstrate my passion for the industry that I had intended to work for. And I was also able to demonstrate my hard work, my resilience, my work ethic by having self-funded my education. These folks never had to work a day in their lives. Their parents had money, so they funded their education, and I didn't have that luxury. And the interviewers were so impressed that before the end of the day, I heard back from Lehman Brothers, and I started in the sales and trading program. So that's the first part of my journey. Thank you. I then decided, so in my family, pretty much everyone has a higher degree. Everyone has a master's, and there was never any doubt in my mind that I needed to go for at least a master's degree. So after about 4.5 years, 5 years at Lehman, I decided to pursue my education, that I wanted to go back to school to get an MBA. Because it was also expected in financial services that one would further their education to at least a master level. So what I did is I visited a bunch of universities, I would say, not colleges. And I fell in love with the University of Michigan. I don't know if you heard of have you heard of the University of Michigan? Wolverine, the colors are blue and yellow, or I would say blue and maize. And when I visited the school, I fell in love with it because it was everything that I had seen in the movies about school, American schools. Football, sororities, fraternities, all these things that I had not experienced myself because when I was at Baruch College, I was just working and going to school. I was just trying to survive. So I had this one-of-a-lifetime opportunity to go back to school and really experience what it is to be on campus, be part of the student life, become members of student organizations. So I applied to University of Michigan, and when I talked to the administration, the recommendation was for me to apply to a scholarship, for a scholarship. And it was a merit-based scholarship. A merit-based scholarship means that you have to have demonstrated exceptional accomplishments in order for you to be considered for that scholarship. So have you heard of GM? Do you know what's GM? Very good. What do they do? They build cars, excellent. So General Motors actually paid for my school because I was the recipient of a merit-based scholarship. So I went to school without paying a dime. And I had $100,000 education, all paid for, because I had demonstrated my leadership skills and my various accomplishments in whatever essays I had to come up with or develop for the purpose of that scholarship application. So I went to school, but in my mind, because I loved Wall Street, I always wanted to go back to Lehman Brothers, and the plan was for me to go back to Lehman Brothers. So I leave Lehman Brothers on July 11th, 2008. What happened on September 15, 2008? What happened? Yes, but what exactly happened? Thank you very much. Lehman Brothers died on September 15. It filed for bankruptcy. The company filed for bankruptcy. So all my plans to go back to Lehman were no longer a reality, right? The company completely evaporated. On TV, you saw people leave the building with boxes. It was so sad. A lot of my friends lost their jobs, and I was very scared. I was scared because I didn't know anything but financial services, but Wall Street, and I was scared to try something else. But when Lehman went under, I decided that I would work for a company that was going to be around for centuries, because I didn't want to go through this again. So I ended up applying to ExxonMobil, which was the #1 oil and gas company in the world for many, many, many years. Have you heard of ExxonMobil? Yes, right. What do they do? Oil and gas, yes. It's ExxonMobil is one of the largest integrated oil and gas company. So I decided to work for the company in the finance leadership development training program. And it was an interesting experience because at ExxonMobil, every 2 years you get a new job. The company is so big that they want you to see all of it. So every 2 years you get a new job. I worked in the downstream, I worked in the upstream, never got a chance to work in chemicals, but I've seen it all. I worked in the downstream where I had to actually climb on tanks, measure the product, like really touch the heart of the operations, and that was fantastic. So I spent a lot of time in the finance space, but decided that I wanted to be in the commercial space. And that's how I ended up in the BD, business development space. So do you know what's business development? What do a business developer do?
Just some idea. Just some idea.
Yeah, so what do you, go ahead.
Creating jobs.
Creating jobs, okay.
Or creating their own business plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
There is a lot of planning in what I do. Go ahead. Can you speak louder?
Helping your business to expand first. Also have more knowledge.
Very good. So I hear expansion. What else? Anybody else? Go ahead.
Find more sponsors.
More sponsors? Okay. Anybody else? Don't be shy. Go ahead. Risk of bankruptcy. Okay. You are all right. So what is a business developer? A business developer is a resource who's focused on growing the presence or entering new market. Let's say, for example, you're already in the market. My job is to grow that market, grow the market share for whatever product. So let me give you some context. Now I work for BP. After spending 25 years in the US, I decided to come back to Senegal to work for BP. Have you heard of BP? Yeah. Okay. BP is the operator for the biggest project that this region will ever see. And it's the Grand Tortue project between Senegal and Mauritania. You've heard of the gas project? Yes. So my role at BP is, today the project is a 2.5 metric ton project. My job is to take it from 2.5 to 10, right? So I have to come up with commercial and technical solutions for all the partners to align around so we can grow the business. That's what I do, okay? What else? I had a chance to work in different countries. I worked in India, and I have listed them here, and I was exposed to all the other countries. As a business developer, I was working in the LNG to power space. So if you have any questions about LNG, do you know what's LNG? LNG. Natural gas, very good. And why do you need to liquefy the natural gas? Go ahead. Very good, very good. So when it comes to gas, there is a disconnect between the supply areas where you have a lot of gas and the demand centers. Because you cannot build a pipeline from Senegal all the way to China, what you do is you liquefy the gas, it's in a liquid form, and then you can ship it on a vessel. That's what and once you get it to the demand center, the gas, the LNG, has to be regasified, okay? And then it flows into the various systems. So that's what I do. My job is to find customers for the gas. My job is to make sure that projects can be financed. It's great to have a project, but if you cannot finance your project, and if nobody wants your product, you don't have a project. So that's what I do, in a nutshell. So what do I like to do outside of work? I love to cook, even though since I moved to Senegal, I haven't done much cooking, to be honest, because in Senegal, you have help, right? In the US, I had to cook for myself, but here I have a little bit of help, so I'm very grateful for that. So I don't do enough cooking, but I really, really enjoy cooking. I love to learn. The process of learning to me is just amazing. It does very good to my soul. So I'm a fan of podcasts. Are you familiar with podcasts? Yes. Okay, you listen to podcasts? What kind of podcast? Oprah? Oh, she's my best friend. I'm thinking. I love Oprah. She has a podcast called Super Soul Sundays. If you haven't heard about it, please look into it. Super Soul Sunday. What else? What else do you listen to?
Audiobooks.
Audiobooks? Great. Yeah, I love audiobooks. My father had come to visit, and he was supposed to stay in Houston for 10 days, and he ended up staying for 3 months. And that did a lot for me. That's when I realized that I really miss my family. I miss community, I miss family, and that's why I came back. It made sense. When that opportunity presented itself, I'm like, how many Senegalese women have my background? Not too many. Like when I first started working in oil and gas, everybody was like, well, are you gonna find gas in Senegal and oil? Aren't you not coming back? I'm like, no, I'm not coming back. Fast forward, I don't know how many years later, we had major discoveries, right? So again, you never know what life will present to you, but you just have to be quick to grab the opportunity and create your own luck. And that's what I did. That's why I came back. Okay. All right. Next, what do these companies have in common? Let's actually start with Coca-Cola. When you hear Coca-Cola, what do you know about Coca-Cola? Well, drinks? Yeah. What kind of drinks?
Soda.
Soda. Which one?
But multinational Coca-Cola.
Multinational. Okay. Do you drink Coca-Cola? Not so much? Have you had Coca-Cola? You have, right? Who hasn't had Coca-Cola here? Please raise your hand. Because I think you're an alien if you haven't had Coca-Cola, to be honest. So Coca-Cola Coca-Cola, yes, it's a world-class, renowned company, right? Everybody has pretty much had a Coca-Cola in their lifetime. Next, what is this company? Apple, okay. What do you think about Apple? What is it? iPhone 14, okay. So that's, what else?
Marketing.
Marketing, very good. They do sell a lot around the world, yes. What else? But why do they sell a lot?
They did good publicity.
Good publicity? But, very good, because I was going to tell you, you can have good publicity and have bad products. And when you have good publicity and bad products and people buy your products, what happens? They don't buy them again and you die. That's not the case of Apple. Apple has good advertising, good product. What else? Branding, very good. Good branding. Next, Amazon. So what do you know about Amazon? Shopping, okay, I like shopping. What else? So why do people shop on Amazon? Okay, so you have diversity in products, you have a wide range of products. What else?
And I've read a book that said Amazon is losing money for making money. Like, things are cheap, but expensive.
Yes, but do you know why?
No, I don't.
Because they have a promise. All these companies have promised you something in your subconscious.
Yeah.
With Amazon, you're promised to get your product in time. So if it means that it costs them more money to send you your product, they will, because you know what? They live up to their promise. Apple, what is the promise? To have reliability, quality. You can trust the product. What else?
You can be a star.
You can be a star. Status. You get status from security. Very good, security. What else? Okay, what about Coca-Cola? What's the promise?
Fresh.
Fresh? The what?
False promises.
False promises.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me more about that.
They just all know how they did, but like, it's a bad product. It's not good for your health.
It's not good for your...
Consciously, they're really like it's refreshing and everything.
Yeah.
I don't know how they did it throughout the years, but like, it succeeded.
You can share it everywhere with everybody.
Yes, you can share it everywhere with everybody. Okay, so we have folks here who do not like Coca-Cola, like the gentleman here. But what you cannot take away from Coca-Cola is the fact that it's a strong brand. Wherever you go in the world, you show this logo, people would say it's a Coca-Cola, right? So based on their experience, Coca-Cola is good. To be honest, if I were to drink a cola drink, I would drink Coca-Cola. You go to the supermarket, you see Mariama Cola, Abby Colas. What are you going to buy? And Coca-Cola? You'll buy Coca-Cola. Because you know what? With Coca-Cola, you know what you're getting. And that's very important. So these brands are reliable. They deliver quality product, you trust them, and you are always satisfied. So it's a promise based on experience. So you need to think about yourself as brands. Who here thinks about themselves as a brand?
As a brand?
Yes.
Maybe.
Oh, very good. Okay, what is your brand?
I'm a teacher of English.
Okay.
And I know that people can trust me.
Can trust you. Very good. You always deliver?
Yes, good lectures.
Good lectures. Very good. What's your brand?
I'm a leader.
You're a leader?
Yeah.
Okay. And what do you bring to the table?
Knowledge.
Knowledge, okay.
Searching for others.
Very good. What about you? Okay, we'll work on your brand. Okay, you?
So that I can get things done, like every work that I have, I can get it done perfectly.
Okay.
So that's good.
Very good. In the back over there, what's your brand? You? You're supportive. That's your brand. Okay, very good. So we're going to spend some time here defining what a brand is. A brand is well recognized. I'm glad you said that you're a leader, but if nobody here believes that you're a leader, then that's not your brand. Okay? Okay, but great. But so what I want people to live with is a brand is not about who you think you are or what you think you are. A brand is what people think of you. It's how people perceive you. Okay? And I would highly recommend that you spend some time with honest friends and family and ask them, what is your brand? And in many situations, you realize that what you think your brand is and what they think your brand is different. Right? Life is all about perception. If I had showed up here with ripped jeans, a tank top, would you take me seriously? Probably not, because from perception, I don't look like I know what I'm talking about, right? So your brand is everything that makes up who you are, but from an external perspective. And the great thing is you can work on your brand. Okay? If you want your brand to be A, then you need to put in place a strategy for your brand to be A. You can change your brand. If today your brand is not good, people see you as not reliable, right? You can change that. But you have to be very deliberate about changing it and making sure that you convert hearts. Okay? So, who's this lady? The first lady?
Yes.
Oh, okay. What is she known for?
Peacemaking.
Kind.
She's kind.
Yeah.
You know, she's very kind, charity. But she's known for her organizational skills. She can set up any charity in a minute when she was alive. And she's known for her compassion and her love for humanity. So that's her brand.
Yes.
Okay. What about Oprah Winfrey?
Richest woman.
Oh yeah, she's a billionaire. But what is she known for? Speech. Her ability to interview, motivational, entrepreneurship. So that's her brand. What about this gentleman? Who's that? Steve Jobs. Okay. What is he known for?
Apple.
Yeah, and more? Leadership, entrepreneur, innovation. He took a basic computer and made it something really cool, right? Because back in the days, computers were not cool. But he made computers cool. So his innovation has led to a number of products, and he has followers all over the world. Some people will spend thousands of dollars on Apple products. So branding is important, and usually your brand comes from your expertise. Okay, that's how you can shape your brand, right? You want to be known for something, but for people to trust that you're good at that specific thing, you have to put in the work. If you want to be known as a great English speaker, I'm sorry, you can't just sit there and not, practice your English. You have to practice it. You have to immerse yourself. You have to build that credibility so that people believe that you're really a great English speaker. right? And that's usually how you build a brand. So number one, you need to take inventory of your strengths. What are you good at? Okay? Ask your friends what is their perception of you. You might think you're good at something and nobody thinks you're good at it actually. That is true, right? And that is not a good situation. So what you do is once you have the two views, you have your view, you have the outside view, you reconcile the two views, okay? And then you start strategizing around how you can get to who you want to be. So set up goals, okay? Your goals have to be SMART. They have to be specific. Have you heard of SMART goals? Okay, so what is a SMART goal?
Specific, reachable, time,
measurable. Okay. So it's important for you to set up goals and to define what you want. So your elevator pitch, everybody should have a top-notch elevator pitch. I should wake you up at 2 in the morning and tell you, what do you want to do? And you should be able to answer me. With no doubts, with conviction, this is what I want to do. So goals are very important. Let me tell you something. I'm jealous of you. I wish I could be in your shoes. I wish I could be a student and know what I know today, but I'm not. What I can do is share the little bit of knowledge that I have. But you are competing with the world. You're not competing just with your peers. You have to be extra good. You have to be excellent. And all the time, right? So if you don't know what you want to do, that's okay. Because people my